My device says it's too hot. That's what it says. I'm not saying that. The device said it. My Google Pixel said that. Thanks, Google. I think I'm pretty hot as well, especially with my hat on and my sexy glasses. I don't even know what to talk about in this video because I'm so terribly exhausted that all I want to do is sleep. But I am scourged with the affliction of not being able to sleep properly, although I do sleep quite well when I do sleep, but not being able to stop doing what I'm doing until there is some type of mass surrender by the individuals that are in direct conflict with the establishment of this country called Australia. Perhaps unknowingly, perhaps you were just floating around like a piece of flotsam and jetsam that has been unknowingly cast off of a ship that had the most beautiful foundations and beautiful structure you could imagine, and the pirates that have jumped aboard, drunk and high with their own superiority, have thrown you overboard and then are making you paddle in the shark-infested waters as you push their limping ship without any sails into some type of hellhole. That's where we are. Where do you think you are? Unfortunately, I have the most difficult job in the world where I have to explain to a bunch of people that have been purposefully uneducated about where they live so that the pirates could jump aboard and try and steal where they live. It's best to think of Australia as a giant ship. Okay, you were born on a ship called Australia. If you were my age, or perhaps a little bit older, or then definitely younger, you were born into a ship that was occupied by pirates, mutineers, that had mutinied away from the original concept of the ship, the original plan, and did what pirates do. They turned the whole place into a floating fucking sin palace, and they will not stop until all the rum is gone. Now, I was birthed onto this pirate ship and participated in a bunch of jolly fucking pirate ways for a long, long time, until I suppose it got too much for me, and then I educated myself on the actual situation, discovered that the ropes were still indeed tied quite firmly, and that this floating fucking pirate palace was just basically moored off the coast and was creating a fucking giant headache and annoyance for all the other members of the place that the ship was tied to. And I guess the people on land, sorry, I'm going to sneeze, resolved to the fact that, well, they're not going to trust any of us now. They're just going to, so it needs to be one of them. It needs to be someone from there needs to emerge in order to fucking bring that pirate orgy, Hellfest 2024 back to port to repair and resupply. If you feel like your life in some way resembles a pirate, if you are drinking heavily, if you are doing drugs, if you are listening to any music from DJs whilst neglecting the education of your children to where you actually live, if you're relying on individuals provided by the pirate ship to educate your children, and you're not letting them self-discover via the wonderful new navigation technological systems that we all have access to, if you are allowing your pirate masters to limit your children's exposure to an interconnected system of stability and self-driven education and self-driven community involvement, and the community can be a children community, children can establish their own communities. If the little rascals have told us anything, that is what they've told us. So, what a job I had in front of me. But it seemed like fun, and it was fun, and it was also terrifying, and it was also challenging in ways that I didn't even know that could exist. If that sounds like something you'd like to be a part of, I would suggest you apply for some type of defence position, because the world of defence is far different than it's ever been in the history of the world. It's a complicated, new, ever-changing environment of challenges, and is incredibly rewarding. So yeah, it's way better than being a slave in a pirate colony, in a mutineer's colony of incompetency. Although there are some egalitarian techniques that pirates use that I do actually think are quite wonderful, they do have a tendency to slip into fucking de-evolution of sinful activity and a thirst for blood and greed of monetary self-adulation, I think is the right word. And this is why we obviously have to intervene now to prevent any further escalation in this mutiny's grip. I guess at some point we thought, well, let's let them go for a little bit and really make it. When we do wrap the noose around them, that will send a clear message that this will not be tolerated again, and that this, we will indeed catch you at every point. That our structure that was established over 100 years ago is impervious to mutiny. Of course it is. It's one of the first. It's like, all right, what should we do first? All right, let's try and prevent mutiny, because obviously the Americans have sent the largest example of what people will do when they are provided with an abundance of land and resources that they did not, in fact, have anything to do with securing. They just handballed that without being instilled with the responsibility of the people that established it. They will inevitably revolt in a sinful display of mutiny. So I would suggest not being part of a mutiny, especially one that was prepared for, documented, and 360 degrees surrounded in every way. So the best way to bring yourself out of that situation is to throw yourself on your hands and knees and declare that, I just got carried away, I got swept up in the whole parade of the mutiny. The mutineers were quite convincing, and I guess I just want to go home now and tuck myself under my blanket, and I feel dirty, and I've pissed my pants, and there's spew all over me, and I'm sweating, and I feel like maybe my drink was spiked. Then that's why I participated in the largest mutiny that has ever existed, and then continued on that mutiny despite being constantly warned and told that this was in fact a mutiny, and that we will elevate our form of response as your mutiny extends itself to degrade this fine country further and further and further and further. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you do or say will be used against you in a court of law. Basically, that's the point. That's what has been said for 3 years now, and you just wouldn't shut up. You've incriminated yourself, which has extended out and incriminated all participants in this, in the largest organised crime activity, single activity that has ever been recorded in human history, and we intend to use the legislation of RICO to strangle you all and bring this mutiny to justice, and bring the leaders of that mutiny to a prison cell where they can think about all the naughty things they did. It's like that party boy. Remember that party boy who had a party in his parents' house? I can't remember his name. Had funny glasses. That's what our politicians did.